What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about some of the best everyday quarterback drills that you guys can do during the season and in the off season. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you are a quarterback and you want to learn how you can read defenses, check out that very first link in the description below where you can get access to 500 plus videos all on how quarterbacks can read defenses, the best plays that will work against defenses, and the weakness of each coverage. So check out that very first link in the description below. If you want to improve your football IQ, like I said, fellas, it's like 500 videos on there, 3 to 5 minute long videos where I break down coverages, teach you how to look at them. It's like the Netflix for quarterbacks, if you will. So again, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. All right, guys, so this first drill we're going to be discussing today is going to be solely for your back leg stability in your throwing motion. So this is going to help you get to a perfect throwing base at the top of the drop when you hitch up onto a drop and just honestly develop more arm strength for you, okay? Now, this is a drill that does not require throwing. You don't need a partner for this drill. You literally just need about 5 to 10 yards worth of space. So when you guys go to throw, where does all of a quarterback's power come from? All the quarterback's power comes from their hips, right? So I think everybody knows that, or everybody kind of somewhat knows that you need to have some rotational force when you throw. Now, it is physically impossible to rotate completely with your hips if when you get to the top of the drop or you're hitching up on a throw, you have this really wide base where both of your knees are caved in, or maybe just your back knee is caved in, whatever the situation is. But when your knee is caved forward, your body weight is shifted forward. So this foot, guess what, where it is? It's outside of your shoulder frame. So when you try to rotate, that's when that back leg extends, that's when that back leg kicks, maybe it kicks behind your front foot, and that prevents that hip rotation, which honestly will make you decrease in arm strength and decrease in consistency. Because if you're not rotating at your hips, you're going to do something to get the ball there, and that's when quarterbacks will dip their head, pull their shoulder down, affecting their release, and it makes them inaccurate. So this drill strengthens that back leg because a lot of quarterbacks just simply don't have the strength in their back leg to get to this position. Back foot is underneath your hip. I like to say your head is outside of your hip so that foot can never get outside your frame. If your head is outside your hip, and I don't mean like this, but if your head is shifted outside your hip, your foot will never get wide and you can easily just turn through with your hips. So this drill, I call this a single leg hop. All you're going to be doing, need 10 yards of space. You're just hopping on one foot and it's going to be your throwing side foot to simulate a drop. So all you're going to do, literally bounce, and this is going to be a leg burner. I'm going to tell you, so it may not seem like it, but it will be. You got to keep your toes completely pointed towards the sideline or in front of you, and all you're going to do, jump, and you have to stick it. Jump, stick it. Now, if you want to get really advanced with this type of drill, and I'm going to show you how to look full speed in a second, you could have a partner clap for you. So when your partner claps, you jump, but you have to hold it. You can't guess his clap. You have to hold it. Claps again, jump, and you have to hold it. That's all it is, fellas. You just need to work on that stability and that strength in your back leg. So when I get to the top of the drop, I'm comfortable landing back here so I can rotate with my hips and have that proper throwing sequence. So I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. I recommend doing about 4 sets of 10 yards with this drill. All right, guys, so this next everyday quarterback drill that we're going to be discussing, you don't even need a football for this drill. Again, you only need maybe about 5 to 10 yards of space for this, but this is going to be working on your throwing motion, your throwing mechanics, and your throwing sequence. You don't even need a ball for it. So you could do this drill unlimited amount of times every single day to work on your throwing mechanics, because throwing mechanics is all about reps. You need to rep out that perfect motion over and over and over again to be a more efficient passer. And a perfect motion doesn't mean that you have to throw exactly like, you know, your favorite quarterback or some quarterback you see on TV. Everybody has their own unique motion, but there are certain things about the throwing motion that all quarterbacks need to have to be efficient. So that's what this drill is going to be focusing on. So remember, last drill, what was that for? That hop drill, right? That last drill was to work on that stability in the back leg so you could get comfortable being here. Weight is back, foot is under your hip. Now remember what that was for. That was so you could get hip rotation. But now getting to that specific spot, that back leg under your frame, that also allows you to do something called separate your shoulders and your hips. So you want to get to this position. That's the first part of your throwing sequence. You want to get to the base. 60-70%, foot's under your hip, your back, you're light on your front foot, head is outside the hip. Now, second part of the throwing sequence is the stride. When you take that stride, you do not want all your weight going forward at the same time because you will lose torque Torque is something that like baseball hitters are very familiar with. When you have the bat back here, step to the pitcher, bat stays back and the hips bring the bat through. That's torque. That's how they can increase bat speed. And that's how quarterbacks increase arm speed, velocity, and consistency on the throw, because all about throwing sequence. Rotational athletes move very, very similar. So you want to have your weight back, you want to step, but you want to maintain some weight for just a split second. So now the step gets down. What do you think your hands want to do? Do you want to open? Do you want all your weight to go forward? No, because you lose torque. You want to go back with the ball, shoulders closed. So now, third part of the throwing sequence is the hip rotation, and that brings the ball through. So we are solely going to be working on the step and the rotation of my hips and my weight staying back. They call this a QB walk or a hip walk. So all you're going to be doing, you need a 10-yard space. The rhythm of this, if you're a righty, is going to be left, right, left. Make sure your weight stays loaded while you are stepping forward on this. We do not want to be this guy who's here, who steps forward and is doing the drill like this. That's not the drill. The drill is us staying back. So I'll show you from a side angle. Again, your weight's back, left, right, step, shoulders stay back, weight stays back. And it's just a little bit of a hip rotation through. That's all we're going to be doing for this 10-yard space, just coming all the way down. I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. Recommend doing about 4 sets of 10 yards of this drill. All right, guys, so this next drill is going to be a drill that you need a towel for. Could you do this with a football? Absolutely. We're just doing it with the towel, so it takes a little bit of pressure off the arm. You're not result-oriented, and we're solely focused on our throwing mechanics. So what this is going to be for is having front-side discipline with your front shoulder. So the mistake that a lot of quarterbacks will make is that when they throw, they have that good throwing sequence that we talk about, right? So their weight stays back, they take a step, shoulders go back, their hips bring them through. But as the hips bring them through, this front elbow and shoulder over rotate, which is something that pulls your arm off of something we call the midline, right? When you have all this rotational force from your hips and from your shoulders going this way, you almost want to think of when you throw, your spine is like heavily involved. Whatever this front side does, it's going to pull your spine off of this midline, which is going to lengthen your arm outside of your frame. That's how the body works, almost like a teeter-totter, right? Everything's connected up here, right? So if you have that hip rotation swinging you this way and your shoulder is also swinging you this way, maybe your head starts to dip, the arm starts to widen, and we come across my body. Now again, in the days of like, Patrick Mahomes, everybody throwing sidearm around people, the sidearm throw isn't as heavily like criticized as what it was. And I'm not here to criticize the lower arm slot or having to throw around people, because I think that's a valid throw. I think that you have to do that in some cases. Not all the time. It's very, very rare, but you never want this arm to be outside of your frame coming this way, because you can't get to something called extension. And that's why we work with this towel. The towel is to work on extension. When you guys throw, you never want to just not hear the towel. You want to hear a snap to the towel, because the snap to the towel means that I am extending and I have a disciplined front side. So that's why we do this type of drill. So what this drill is for, all you're going to do, you need maybe about a 10-yard space, 5-yard space. You can do it in place if you want. You're going to step, have your weight back. You're going to do the same throwing motion, but after you throw, you're going to get right back to base, because that forces this front side to not be wild. If you're wild with the front side, it's going to take you a while to flip back to base. I want to be just here, flip back, and keep this front side nice and steady. Here, flip back, front side nice and steady. I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed, but it's a great drill to prevent you from swinging open with that front shoulder. All right, guys, so this next drill, you are still going to be on the towel. If you need to do this with a football, you could do this with a football as well, but this is going to be a drill to work on your hitch at the top of, like, 3-step drop and a hitch, a shuffle drop and a hitch, something that's going to help us get our weight back when we have to hitch into a throw. So like, let's say, for example, I have to throw let's say it's a deep post, right? So like, we have a deep post from the outside, my slot receiver's running like a dig, we're reading the safety crashes down, we're throwing this thing over the top, right? So what you would do is at the top of the drop, you take a 3-step drop, and then when you hitch up into the throw, the mistake a lot of quarterbacks make, they end up at the top of their drop like this, which is okay if you're hitching up into it, but they'll hitch and they'll leave a lot of their weight on their front side. They never get their head outside of their hip. They're never here, and they never get to here with this weight on their back leg, foot underneath their hip, even if they have the strength in the back leg to be able to do that. Because again, we work those first 2 drills to work on our throwing sequence and our back leg stability. So when you hitch up into this throw, the mistake a lot of guys will make, like I said, they leave weight forward. So when you have weight forward, your back foot's going to be outside your frame. You won't be able to rotate with your hips. Your shoulders can't go back, so you're going to be here. You're going to, legs probably going to extend. You're going to over rotate. Arms going to fly outside your frame. All those bad habits that we discussed throughout this entire video. So this drill kind of helps us get comfortable getting my weight back. So all you're going to do, 3 reps. You're going to go 3 parts of a rep. You're probably going to go like 8 to 10 reps on this. You're going to start out weight on your front foot. All you're going to do, shift it back once. You're going to literally just switch your feet. Weight gets back. Then you're going to go back. Shift it back twice. Go back. Shift back on a 3rd time, and on the 3rd time when that back foot hits, you're going to shoot through and throw and work on that extension and that good front side mechanics with this throw. So I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. Great drill to work on that 3 and a hitch, specifically that hitch at the top of a drop. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like to improve your reading defenses ability and want 500 plus videos all based on how quarterbacks can read defenses, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to give you access to that. I'll see you guys next time.